sure you should already know that I'll shoot dice with a nigga teeth before I let your name fall out of nigga mouth in any kind of disrespectful way behind all this. This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, Short Stories, Irreconcilable Differences, Part 4. And when we left off, True and Big Wood had a conversation about why he declined to go to Puerto Rico. As is typical, True made her position clear. Her best friend Stephanie, who was in training to become the head of the Lopez organization, had gone back to work after giving birth to her daughter, and as soon as her 6 to 8 weeks were up, she'd be going back to work as well. She didn't see any reason why Big Wood should pass up the opportunity to personally handle the men who were in charge of the international trafficking organization that had wreaked havoc on his life when he was 8 years old and had attempted to wreak havoc in the lives of everybody that he loved, including his own. Big Wood had been determined to be right there by her side, helping take care of his brand new son, Genesis. He knew that his best friend and brother, Q, who was the kingpin of the St. James organization, would make sure that everybody connected to the international trafficking organization met their expected end. And as much as he wanted to be the one to look them in their eyes when they took their last breaths, he wasn't all that interested in missing even a moment in his son's life, unless, of course, he had to. The only reason why he'd headed to the Lopez airstrip and boarded that plane to Puerto Rico was because there was one more man out there, a man who hadn't been identified or located, and he believed that that man was directly responsible for the death of his father, his sister's baby father, the bullets that had gone into his body in Dallas, the attack on his pregnant fiance in Denver, the attempt on Michael and Tamara, and the death of Miss Bernie. And since his virtual appearance in Puerto Rico before True had gone into labor hadn't quite loosened the lips of Johnny Decker, he figured that his physical presence in Puerto Rico and the torturous plans that he had in mind would absolutely do the trick. Before the plane took off, though, he got a phone call from Q. Q said, "Bro, I want nothing more than to have you right here with me putting in this work. I have no doubt that you are just the man for the job. I'd be remiss, though, if I didn't at least attempt to help you redirect. I'll support whatever you decide, but I'm sure you're on that plane because True had no problem with you leaving and coming here to put in work. That means that she probably didn't provide you with any alternative options." Big Wood said, "Of course not." Q said, "As I expected. This ain't shade against her, because I know if she could come with you, she would. I believe that woman would do anything for you. And I know y'all still working through some things, but when Angela was pregnant with V and I was determined to go and help Donovan with that situation with Veronica. She didn't want me to go, but she also didn't want me to have to choose between the family I came from and the one I was creating. Being a father means that I'm always having to weigh the pros and cons, the risks and benefits of handling a situation myself or staying home with my family. I'm only in Puerto Rico right now because the only way I can keep the feds off of the family is if I'm right here to be the go-between. But if I could choose differently, I'd be home with my wife and my children. I got newborn twin sons at home. They're only weeks old. While the situation is such that I'm not necessarily in danger of not ever coming home again, I refuse to be here any longer than I have to. You coming here won't even get me home sooner, because the hammer is going to drop tomorrow. And whether these fools want to talk or not, seeing everything that they've worked for decades going up in flames is absolutely going to do the trick. So you don't have to do this. If there is any part of your mind that's conflicted in any way, if there's anything that could possibly occur right there where you are with your son and your girl that you could possibly imagine would result in you regretting coming to Puerto Rico, get off that plane." Then Big Wood took a second to consider. Who had given birth 3 days earlier via C-section. She should have been discharged from the hospital that day. And while Genesis was small, he had a clean bill of health. The only reason why he was still in the hospital was because True was. Her blood work was a little questionable. She'd lost a lot of blood during the C-section, and while Maribel had handled it like a champ, It wasn't until after the surgery was over that True and Big Wood learned that True almost lost her uterus and her life. She'd had to have a blood transfusion and an iron infusion. Maribel had refused to head back to Texas until she knew for sure True was completely out of the woods. She'd said she would not discharge True until all of her blood work came back fine. And she was sure that there wasn't some other underlying issue that she hadn't yet identified that had caused the blood loss. While True appeared to be fine, if anything happened, if she got bad news, he'd be heartbroken. If he was in Puerto Rico, instead of being right by her side to help her through it. She wasn't a withering willow. True was tough as nails. And like she'd said, his mother was there, her sister was there, so she would not be without support. But he'd been on a journey to get his girl back. He didn't want to co-parent with True. He wanted to be a family. He wanted to marry that woman. He wanted to put more babies in that woman. And if she learned that she had some serious illness or having more children wasn't an option, he wanted to be the one right there supporting her through that, giving her whatever she needed, even if she didn't know what she needed. So he got off that plane and headed back to the hospital. Over at the hospital, True had a guest, a very unexpected one. Even at the hospital, True was surrounded by security. And that security reported directly to her general, Stax. That meant not a soul was getting into that hospital room without going through Stax. When the operation in New York had concluded, Stax had relayed Stephanie's message to Bosch. And when Bosch contacted Stephanie, she told him that True needed to bend his ear. She provided him with the phone number to the soldier whose phone True had been using to make contact. And instead of calling that soldier, Bosch called Stax back. He was not making a cold call. He needed information first. And Stax gave him the information that he sought. He told him that True had had her son, that Big Wood had been by her side, that her sister Indira and Big Wood's mother, Miss Charlotte, were there, and that she was surrounded by security. With Bosch's assignment concluded, he had time on his hands, so he got on a plane to Denver. When he arrived, he called Stax, and Stax was pissed. He said, "What the hell are you doing, nigga? Do you have a death wish? Are you intentionally trying to make my job hard? That woman told you to call her. She didn't tell you to pull up." Bosch said, "I'm not trying to make her job harder. I'm not about to have a conversation with her on some little nigga's phone. I've heard the rumors. I also know Big Wood. His son is born, his girl is good, and 2 of the 4 men responsible for all this damn havoc is right there with you in Puerto Rico. Ain't no way he passing up on that. I know I wouldn't." Stax said, "Q gave him the opportunity to come here and he passed. But even if he didn't, how the hell you planned on getting in that hospital?" Bosch said, "You gonna help me?" Stax said, "The hell I am." Bosch said, "She could have told you to have me contact her. She didn't. Stephanie could have told you to have me contact her. She didn't. You know the truth. You know how she thinks. Why you think she ain't tell you nothing?" Stax thought about it, and he realized that True probably figured his confidence was shaken in her, just like the confidence of a whole lot of other people down the food chain. She probably figured that if he'd known that she was trying to reach out to Bosch, he'd think she was on some snake-ish, or that the rumors were true. He'd never even had a conversation with True about whether she slept with Bosch, whether Wood was Genesis's father, because none of that was his business. True had shown him who she was, and he believed her. But with so many people whispering, because they didn't know the truth that Stax knew, he could understand why she'd want to keep it close to the vest, why she'd trust Stephanie and not trust him. So he said, "What you want me to do, nigga?" And the minute that Stax was notified that Big Wood was heading to the airstrip, he called the lieutenant in charge of True's security and notified Bosch. So in True's hospital room, True and Bosch had been conversing for a little over an hour. When True saw Bosch walk into her hospital room, her very first thought was that he'd gotten one of the little niggas to help him sneak into her hospital room. And she was pissed. She was relieved when he told her that he'd convinced Stax to do it. And the only people who knew that he was there was Stax and her lieutenant. Then he told her, "Listen, Shotty, I'm sorry about rolling to Puerto Rico and making a damn scene, and then heading to Texas and making another one. I didn't consider how it was going to look, the rumors it would start. I was focused on You being here by yourself. I had no idea what Wood had planned. And I certainly had no idea that man was alive. When I found out, I was focused on making sure he knew that I didn't know. I wasn't plotting on him, and my only intentions were honoring the commitment that I'd made. I was trying to make it easier for y'all to do whatever y'all was gonna do. And I was trying to ensure that you had the support you needed. True said, oh, okay. So you weren't trying to report on how the scheme that you two cooked up had worked out? Bosch said, what scheme? What you talking about? True said, you and he hadn't colluded to ruin my career? Bosch said, why would I do that? True said, because the fact that you and I have been together has the potential to do just that. I don't care about the rumors that I was cheating on Wood. I don't care that people think that I knew he was alive and I still slept with you. I don't care that they think that Genesis might be yours, as if we had something going on before all of this even started. I don't care about what people say, because I don't give a damn what they think. I care about what I give people reason to think. And by getting involved with you, I gave people reason to believe that how I handle my personal obligations is a reflection of how I will handle my business decisions. And I can't have that. Bosch said, sure, you should already know that I'll shoot dice with a nigga teeth before I let your name fall out of nigga mouth in any kind of disrespectful way behind all this. When I left here, I should have went to New York, like Stacks told me to. True asked, why didn't you? Bosch said, because I promised Wood. True cut him off and said, don't give me that line again. You had to have known that showing up in Puerto Rico, acting like a man who'd been kept from his woman, was absolutely going to get tongues wagging. Bosch said, I wasn't thinking about none of that, and I'm sorry. You and your son's well-being were my main focus. You shut me down, and I knew you wasn't changing your mind. So when Stacks pulled me off the job, I was happy to go. I just couldn't see you and Genesis out here on your own. When I found out Wood was alive, I was full of regrets. We should have never went there. I should have never went there. And I wouldn't have had I been honest with myself. It was something to do for you, but you were never just something to do for me. I ain't never had a hard time sticking and moving. But you something like a phenomenon, shorty. And I was stuck. The moment that I found out, you know how to play go. True said, that wasn't real. We were both vulnerable. Bosch said, I get it. I could have been any nigga. But for me, it wasn't nearly that simple. Every time I looked at you, I saw my girl, pregnant with our baby, losing her life due to a pregnancy complication. And I wasn't there to protect her, to intervene, to save either of them. It was like the universe, the creator, was giving me another opportunity to right that wrong. I got lost in redemption and failed to see the forest for the trees, as they say. When I leave here, you and I may never see one another again. So I'm gonna just say what I haven't, so it's all on the table. I love you, True. I want nothing but the best for you. So I can't allow what we did to stop you from being great. I've already asked Stacks to reassign me. When I get back to Puerto Rico, I'm gonna be on a whole nother team. If I hear any whispers, I'll address them. True said, you don't need to be assigned to another team. That isn't gonna make anything easier. And it's certainly not gonna make anything better. And you do not love me. You love the idea of loving me. You don't even know me. You know trauma me. And she and I are not one and the same. You're young, so I don't really expect for you to understand. But one day you will. One day you will meet a woman who not only wants more, but has more to offer, who isn't choosing you based on her pain and isn't using you as a band-aid on a gunshot wound. If the goal was redemption, then I'll speak for the universe and say, you've been redeemed. But so you know, God does not work that way. Losing your girl and your baby was not punishment. It wasn't karma, the scales of justice, or any of the other commonly held beliefs about how life and death work. And I get having regrets, but you shouldn't, because I don't. I did what I wanted to do. And while I warned you about the possible outcomes, I could have absolutely never predicted that Big Wood was alive and that my whole world would be turned upside down all over again. Please don't misunderstand me. I am absolutely thanking God that that man is alive. But the truth is that there isn't any part of my life that I want more than the other. And every part of my life right now requires my undivided attention. There's very little that I can do about my reputation right now. But you need to stay in your current position. I'm sure that'll change when the round table is reconvened, because you've most certainly earned a promotion. But if you're transferred after all the good work you put in, that will just add fuel to the fire. And I don't need that. I'm gonna let the rumors continue. And when it's time, I'm gonna do the work to clear that up. Just like I did it before. I don't need you or Wood to clear a damn thing up. Let them niggas talk. Because when I'm in the clear, I'm gonna shut all their mouths. What I do care about, though, is this little ultimatum that Wood gave me and what your role was in getting me between a rock and a hard place. You and Wood had a little kumbaya before he left Denver. You told me you promised to take care of me until he returned, to make sure I was good if he didn't, and to ensure that our son was born safely. What else did that man ask you to do? Bosch said, he didn't ask me to do anything else. True said, then what did he say? Bosch said, he told me not to give him a reason to kill me. True said, then why you not dead? Bosch said, because when I went to see that man in Texas, I was prepared to beg for my damn life. Even I was surprised when I didn't have to. He told me that he understood exactly who you are, that he knew how you handled things after your first fiance died. And he didn't expect for you to handle his death any better than you handled that. He said when you truly love someone, you want the best for them. You want them to find love again, even if it's not with you. And if he was really dead, he wouldn't expect or want for you to live a life that didn't include love. But he knew you wouldn't want it. You'd settle for temporary fixes, and I was a temporary fix. If the man had a plan to mess up your career, he didn't include me in it. And I wouldn't have agreed to help him do that. It's almost time for changing of the guard, and Stephanie is going to be a hell of a boss. It's in this organization's best interest to have you right there by her side. You have proven time and time again that you're not only built for the job, but you're the best to ever do it. That's why they call you the truth. I'd be doing her, Stacks, myself, and the entire organization a disservice if I willfully made choices that prevented you from doing that. You are what these little niggas wish they could be. I mean, you everything they wish they could have in their beds. That's the only reason why their mouths is running. Don't let this keep you from having everything that you want, everything that you deserve. You deserve to be Stephanie's right hand, a damn good mother to your son, and Big Wood's wife. Hearing that, True dropped a tear. Bosch said, what's to you? Why you acting like you can't have all three? Your man is alive. He was right here by your side. I talked to Stacks, and he said that you still got Manny, Stephanie, and him on your side. Your baby boy was born healthy. I know you ain't hung up on me, so what's the issue? True said, I can't have all three, Bosch. Bosch said, why not? True said, because Wood put me in a position to choose. And clearly I chose wrong. And it was at that moment that Big Wood dropped the tablet that he was holding in his hand in the doorway. He hadn't heard enough of that conversation to put what True had said in context. All he knew was that the man he told to walk away if he wanted to live was sitting in his child's mother's hospital room. And she had just said that she'd chosen wrong. And it took everything in Big Wood not to unholster his pistol and blow both of their heads clear off their damn shoulders. Here he was, concerned about her well-being, having changed his mind about going to Puerto Rico to put in work, only to discover that her insistence that he went was really a part of a ploy to get her lover in her hospital room. At least that's the assumption that he'd made. And he didn't even challenge the assumption. He bent over, picked up the tablet, and turned around to walk back out. He didn't have no choice. He had to get the hell out of there. Because if he didn't leave, they would both be dead. And it would be real difficult to hide two dead bodies from the hospital staff. As he headed back down the hallway to the elevator, the lieutenant who was posted outside of True's door, because he'd replaced the soldier who'd been stationed there, said, Wood, listen, I don't know what's going on. I'm just following orders. And Big Wood just kept walking. He didn't even respond. Then he heard Bosch coming up behind him while saying, Wood, listen, I don't know what you heard, but... And before he could finish, Big Wood spent around and punched that man so hard that he knocked him off his feet and halfway back down the hall. Then he turned around and continued to the elevator. He punched the down button, waited for the elevator to open, and just as he stepped in, a hand reached inside the elevator, preventing the doors from closing. When he looked out, there was True. She was still recovering from a C-section and couldn't move all that quickly. But she'd been determined to beat that elevator. She said, "I already know what you're thinking. I didn't tell him to come here. I told you that I was going to find out." Before she could finish, Big Wood took his cane and motioned towards her hand like he was going to press it against her fingers if she didn't move. Seeing the rage in his eyes, she moved, while finishing her statement saying, "I told you I was going to find out whether you two were in cahoots to make me believe that you were dead and to ruin my career." Big Wood was clearly ignoring her. He took his cane and pressed the door close button and watched as the elevator doors closed in True's face. He headed back to the Lopez airstrip, boarded the plane, and FaceTimed Q. When Q answered, Big Wood signed, "I'll be there in less than 5 hours." Seeing the look on his brother and best friend's face, Q asked, "What's up? What changed?" Big Wood signed, "Apparently she chose wrong, and so did I." And then he hung up. He didn't even elaborate. He called his mother, Miss Charlotte, and asked her to keep him updated, to call him if there were any major developments in True's prognosis, if she and Genesis were discharged from the hospital, if anything about her behavior said that she was going to blow town with his son, or if she saw anything that was concerning to her. When Miss Charlotte asked Big Wood how long he'd be gone, he'd said that he'd be gone for however long it took to get the job done. But he didn't expect to be gone more than a couple days. Miss Charlotte said, "Son, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell just from looking at you that your blood is boiling in your veins. I hope that whatever it is that you're getting ready to go and do is going to provide you with the outlet you need to relieve some of this stress and rage that you've allowed to build up in you over the last few months. It's clear that neither you nor True took the advice that I gave y'all. You both are fighting your own battles, and you've made love a battle that it doesn't have to be. You're both trying to prove that you're still as strong as you were before all of this happened. But I wish you knew that God is strongest when we are at our weakest. And it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to need help. It's okay to need one another. Let me pray with you, son."
Taking in for peace, they laughed at my silence, doubting my grind. Didn't know I was healing in my own time.